Welcome to Collecting Chaos. This is the video process for taking my Gorgo comic and making it look like this. I'll take it from the very beginning, from where I go, I'll republish the part where I went through it on Friday and then piece it all together so that you can see the whole thing. And if that's what you want to watch, don't close your eyes and don't walk away. Keep watching. Start going through it and we'll identify the problems. Obviously, it has some tears, some chipping, some folds. It's got wrinkling. It needs a good cleaning. The staples are loose, although they are not detached from the cover. The inside of the book is pretty, it's pretty bad too. It needs to be cleaned as well. Of course, we've already identified that the centerfold needs to be reattached. And this is just in case you didn't know who did this. I'm fairly certain this was a Ditko story. One of them was anyway. I don't know how many stories are in this. Because if you look at the characters, they look like Ditko characters. See, there are water stains going all throughout the book, and it just needs a general cleaning. There's person's name is stamped throughout the book, but that's okay. I'm not worried about that. That gives the book a little character. The pages are a little folded. It needs a press, but it needs more than just that. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to clean this up and we're going to make it look a little better. There's a name here. I would try to take that out, but there's a problem with it. If I try to take that out, I'm going to take out some of the brown of the color. So instead, what I'll do is it's pressed in and it's creased in, and I'll bring it back up so that it's not pressed in anymore. So it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be, it's going to take a while to get done right. And like I said, when I get ready to reattach the centerfold, I'll make sure that everybody gets to see it. The first thing we're going to do is take this comic apart. I've already straightened the staples out, but I need to separate the cover from the rest of it, because and maybe fix that staple a little bit because it's in pretty bad shape. Now, I did find a use for the Mr. Clean erasers. I used them as staple holders. This way I know which end is up and which staple is up. So from there, I can disassemble the comic completely and take it and clean one page at a time, which is my intention. Hopefully it'll turn out all right. And if it doesn't, well, it's okay. If it doesn't, it's okay. So, once I get it cleaned, I'll show you where I'm at. So I took the comic apart and I soaked each leaf for about 20 minutes. And I mean, it's still a light tan, a cream to light tan color, but I think, and then I flattened them out. But I think they turned out and look pretty good now. There's still some stains. You can still see some staining. And it's not my goal to remove the stains completely, but to get the pages nice and supple, which we have now. And just to get it in a lot better shape than it was, and it is. I'm very happy with the way these turned out. I have a new way of soaking pages for comics, and it seems to be working fairly well. But now we're going to go and we're going to take a look at the cover. Now, I have not looked at this since I came home from work, so I'm not sure whether it turned out or whether I don't know what happened with it. Now, I soaked this for about 25 minutes, and I did it with of course, distilled water. And it looks a whole lot cleaner. I mean, it's a whole lot whiter, but what I'm worried about is, did it stay together? Yes, it did. That had me worried. Now, I still need to clean some of the dirt off the cover, so what I'm probably going to do, since the inside looks pretty clean, I think I'm going to go ahead and put a little tape here and maybe reinforce the staple holes. Put some tape here to clean that up. Maybe a little piece here, you know, just to reinforce the bad parts of it. And then I'll warm it up and use some of the Immaculate from Immaculate Comics on the back cover, and maybe see if I can't clean up this white a little bit. And I'll show you the result. So the cover's clean, or as clean as I'm going to make it. I could probably go a little further and make it cleaner, but I've decided to stop at this point. I don't want to risk taking any of the ink off more than it already is. But it's a lot cleaner now. It looks a lot better. So the next thing I'm going to do is take the comic, reattach it to the cover with the exception of the centerfold page. And the reason for that is because the main purpose of this whole thing is to show you how to reattach centerfold. So I'm going to put this back together with the original staples, and then I'll be back to do the centerfold. All right, it's time to go ahead and reinforce the area where the staples go. Now this is the actual center of the comic, but I don't put tape on the center. I put it on the back side. I'm not sure why I do it that way. It's just the way I've always done it. Probably to keep the make it the tape as unobtrusive as possible. Now I use about a 1/4 inch piece of tape, maybe smaller, and just put it right there where the staple goes. Put one on the bottom. And one on the top. And that's the only thing I'm going to reinforce there is the actual area where the staples fold over. Get my bone folder and burnish the tape in. Now we're going to actually fold the comic over a little bit. And I need to see where it goes. so that I can have some staple holes there. This one's pretty easy. The bottom hole wasn't actually covered by the tape, which is the whole goal. You don't want it actually covering the tape, or having the tape cover the hole unless it's unavoidable. And the bottom's in there. And I'll fold it over. Again, I use my fingernails to do this, and I can usually get a pretty tight seal that way. Now the bottom part of the upper staple has already come through, and it's in the appropriate place, so I just need to get that top part in, which was actually covered with a piece of tape. So fold the bottom one down first because it's the longer part of the staple. The top one, this staple is kind of lopsided. The top is just a very small piece. I may actually have to use my bone folder to fold the staple over because it's just that small. There you have it. The centerfold is reattached. The cover is reattached. The comic is whole again. I still can't get that one piece to go down far enough. There we go. So the centerfold is now reattached. I could actually pick up the comic by the centerfold. And that's how you put a centerfold back in. And I'm going to go press this, and then I'll show you the finished. Show it to you as finished. Well, it's time to do a reveal. And here it is. As you can see, it's a lot flatter, a little bit cleaner. The back is a little cleaner. I didn't try to get all of the dirt off. I just wanted it a little cleaner. All the tears have been I used an archival tape on all the tears, even up in here on the cover, down here on the cover. And of course the most important part, and the whole reason I had started this in the first place, was that the centerfold is reattached. I can pick up the comic from the centerfold. I don't want to, but I can. All of the pages are a little less, they felt a little stiff, but now they're more supple, and they're a little lighter color than what I started out with. So overall, I'm very satisfied with the way this came out. Could I have gone farther? Sure. I could have tried to do some color touch on it and maybe make it look just brand new. But that's not what I'm about. I'm about preservation in its current state rather than restoring it to a previous state. And the next thing I need to do is put it in a Mylar, and this was actually asked, how do you put your comics in Mylar? Well, first of all, I make sure the board is at least the size of the comic, maybe a little bigger. I'm out of halfbacks, so I have to use an older comic board, but that's about the right size. And I have to make sure the Mylar will hold it. So the Mylar needs to be bigger than the comic, and this one is is about a 1/4 inch bigger, so that's perfect. And this is a this is a standard size, but that's what I use for all comics, even the newer comics. I go ahead and use the standard size because that way everything fits. And then I just make sure, just like with a poly bag, you insert it first, then I hold the flap and slide it in by the board. And at the end, tap it, smooth it, turn it over, smooth it again, then I fold this over tight, then move it up slightly and tape it. And once I get the tape where I want it, and I'm not going to tape this right now because I do want to put a label on it stating what it is and the year it came out and all that stuff. And then I'll crease the mylite. So that's it. That's my my repair on my Gorgo comic and my reattachment of the centerfold. I hope I helped you out a little bit. I hope I answered a few questions on how things are done, or how I do things. This is not how everyone else does it. This is the way I do it. Obviously, I left out a lot of parts. I'm still working on perfecting my soaking technique. This cover did get soaked. It did not split. So I'm improving. Once I get that to where to the level that I want it, then I'll go ahead and show you what I have created in order to do the cover soaks. And I think it'll surprise a few people. So, having said all that, I think it's time to close this video, and I hope you, like I said, I hope you learned something. Make sure before you handle your comics, before you try to do any repairs, that you do wash your hands. If you use chemicals, even if you wear gloves while using the chemicals, wash your hands afterwards. It's very important. It keeps the comics nice. It keeps your hands nice. And we'll see you next video. Bye.